All right, good morning, everybody.
Friends and not so friends.
We are the Gays for Trump. We do our nightly Periscope around 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I don't know if you've seen us on there or not, but we decided we're going to start coming on YouTube in the mornings to help clarify facts from our Periscope from the night before.
I think it's important to, be on YouTube, have two kind of different platforms, and just help explain, kind of our conversations from the Periscope the night before, just because it gets a little crazy with all the comments. So today in particular, I do want to talk about the media, the distorted media, and how it's really negatively affecting Trump. Even though Trump warned us that they were going to be out for blood, I never even imagined that they would knowingly print such false information and still stand behind it.
Yeah, I always thought that they would go to the extremes to exploit the negative things about him that they find negative. I never realized that CNN, a once supposedly credible news source, would go to the extremes of making up lies in order to bring Trump down. So again, we're just going to clarify on a couple of those things. So the first thing that I wanted to touch on was that the media instantly went to the Virginia rally that happened a week and a half or so ago, where there was a mother with a crying baby in the audience. The media twisted and turned it to say that Trump is now against mothers and hates crying babies or babies in general. But it turns out that he was making a joke of the whole situation. He was trying to make her feel comfortable, making light of the situation, and she even came out to say that she knew right from the get-go what was going on, that he wanted her to feel comfortable, and that's what she did. And I'm happy that she spoke out upon it, because otherwise the media would have just continued with this lie and ran with it.
Right. And just more on that point, if you're watching the news and you hear something like that, Trump hates babies and mothers, you automatically know, or you should know, intrinsically you should know that that is false. And it's amazing that people play right into this. I still am dumbfounded by the fact that people are still considering this as fact, and it's just pretty sad. And it just shows kind of where our country's headed, that people can be so distorted by the media and what they say. And so to touch on that, just recently, Trump was talking about how Obama was the founder of ISIS, right? A huge statement that drove the media into a frenzy, which is exactly what he intended. Don't think for a second that's not what he intended. We all know that Hillary Clinton and President Obama, and to be fair, George Bush, all influenced an environment for ISIS to grow. I think in the later years, so definitely Obama and Hillary, this vacuum in the Middle East and the killing of the leaders, in these specific countries where ISIS reigns free, that is at fault with Hillary and Obama, especially the fact that Obama is the current president. He has been for 8 years, and he should have done something about the growth of ISIS, because the growth of ISIS predominantly happened under his tenure. So I just think it's really important to know that. Now, what Trump did in the media, and this is my personal opinion, so I'm not going to say that this is fact, but this is what I believe happened. Trump made a broad, overreaching statement saying Obama is the founder of ISIS, right? Which this morning he considered sarcasm, but we'll get to that later. When he did that, he knew he was going to be interviewed like crazy from all these different organizations, especially CNN and Wolf Blitzer. So if you saw the CNN Wolf Blitzer interview, it's very interesting what happened. Trump said, no, Obama was the founder of ISIS. And Wolf Blitzer couldn't even comprehend how to handle this information. So Wolf Blitzer, being a huge liberal himself, and extremely biased, says, well, how can you say something like that, right? I'm paraphrasing, I don't know the exact quote. That is just such a huge thing to say. And Trump said, no, I stand behind it, I believe that. So then what Wolf Blitzer did is said, I can understand how you can say Obama created a vacuum in the Middle East, Hillary Clinton created a vacuum in the Middle East, and X, X, and X. That is exactly what Trump wanted him to say, in my opinion. That is exactly what Trump wanted him to say, but what Trump did was an overreaching general statement, right? And got a Democrat to admit that Hillary Clinton and President Obama created an environment for ISIS to grow. And I think that is incredibly brilliant. And I think, in my opinion, that's what happened. And you can choose to disagree with that, but honestly, it makes more sense than anything else. And this morning, Trump obviously clarified these statements, saying it was sarcasm. Not everything should be taken to this huge, crazy level that the media takes it. And so I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it's baffling how anything that soon-to-be President Trump says, they take and they just run wild with it. Another amazing thing, I don't even know if amazing is the word to use, but when Trump used the Second Amendment speech against Hillary Clinton, saying that, there's plenty of Second Amendment people out there that could take Hillary Clinton out. Again, paraphrasing, it's not the exact quote, but I took that to mean instantly that there are plenty of Second Amendment voters out there that when it comes time to go to the polls for voting, that they will far outweigh the number of votes that Hillary Clinton's going to get. They will take her down in the polls right away. And then CNN decided to go out and create the story that the Secret Service pulled Trump aside and talked to him and said that, hey, this is borderline bad where you can get in trouble for it. And Trump even came out with a tweet saying that himself or his party have never been contacted by the Secret Service, and eventually, after it was proven false that they were never talked to, he came on and said that CNN finally admits, and I'm not even sure if they admitted, but it's been proven fact that the Secret Service has never talked to Donald Trump about that Second Amendment comment. And it's crazy that they're doing anything and everything they can in order to sway the opinions of voters that just want honest information. And that's what they want. And that's what the news sources should be doing, is giving presenting factual evidence, giving the whole context of what was said and why it was said, instead of just a little blip and twisting it into be something completely negative.
Exactly with, the same thing with John McCain and the war hero thing. Donald Trump was specifically stating that John McCain is using this being captured in Vietnam as a way of political expediency. And he was speaking out against that. And so he said something that a lot of people were taken aback by, right? That John McCain is not a war hero, and I like people that weren't captured. But Donald Trump honestly was talking about, this idea that he uses it for political expediency, and he's sick of it. But at the same exact time, Trump did clarify his statements, if you watch the whole thing, which nobody ever does, and says that John McCain was a war hero. And it's just one of those top media lies. Some more top media lies, that Trump's not a successful businessman, right? Of course he is. Of course he is, right? I think any of us would love to have the, business mindset of him because of what he's done. You can say Trump inherited money from his father, but clearly his business was established way before he inherited money from his father.
And regardless, a lot of people say that, when we do our Periscope, a lot of people say, a small $1 million loan to start up his business. Regardless of who you are, you're going to have to get a loan somehow or another to start up anything. So whether he went to a bank and was approved for a loan of $1 million, or if he got it from his dad, that's completely irrelevant. The point is that he took out a loan, and he made this incredible business, and he paid that loan back to his dad with interest.
And yes, compared to $10 billion, which his companies are valued over now, $1 million is a small loan. So think of it like that. But at the same time, people are saying, oh, he's not a billionaire. Oh, he's not successful. Look at the bankruptcies. Well, are you kidding me? First of all, Trump not one time has filed bankruptcy personally, and he has filed 4 times for different companies, specifically in Atlantic City, when Atlantic City was going down, and everybody knows that. But the media, again, is going to twist and turn it around to make sure everybody thinks that he's a horrible businessman. And we're talking about 4 times out of more than 500 companies. So just so everybody is aware, that is a success rate I will get on board with all day long.
And
that's a 99% success rate.
And just to clarify, he filed bankruptcy. He
Right.
did not go bankrupt.
Right.
None of his companies went bankrupt. He
Right.
filed.
And just furthermore, on the not being a billionaire portion of it, we clearly know that he is. Every major news outlet knows that he is. You know, Hillary Clinton will do her best, but at the same time, it's hard to argue with the facts that he's released. He's released all of his documentation in his companies. You can talk about tax returns, but that's, you know, a one-year tax return that's under an audit. You know, he's obviously protecting that. But at the same time, you know, we know that he has, 515 different positions, right? Currently in his holdings, right? And 168 assets, where 23 of which he claims 50 million or more it's valued at, because there's an option of 50 million or more. It doesn't even specify a cap. And so they can, you know, especially Forbes, look at Forbes especially on this, they know for a fact that he's worth at least $5 billion. But they also know that he has a lot, at least 23 positions where he filed 50 million or more. So there's clearly no way to determine his top cap, but at the same time, you should be happy to get on board with a businessman who has made $5 billion personally. So it's just one of those things. Again, the media is going to twist and turn to get you to think otherwise.
And another thing, last week alone, CNN spent 87 minutes covering false stories about Donald Trump, embellishing them, going off on a tangent. 87 minutes. And when the $400 million ransom that was paid to Iran came out, CNN spent a whopping 27 seconds discussing that.
Seconds.
Yes. 87 minutes compared to 27 seconds. And I think the $400 million ransom is something that does need to be covered in detail. They need to go into detail with it. They need to get their facts, and they need to expose it for what it is. If it turns out that the $400 million ransom was completely 100% acceptable, then get your facts, tell us why, and explain that. Or if it comes out that it was against the law, completely immorally and unethically bad, then they need to expose that. They need to do their job as news anchors and explain everything that's going on. And I mean, as completely irrelevant as this is to anything, Hillary Clinton claims that when she landed in Bosnia, she was under sniper fire and she had to duck her head and run into safety. And there's video evidence out there that she was greeted with little girls throwing roses at her or whatever flower it may be. But it's a lie that has factual evidence to back it up, but yet they're not doing anything about it to expose Hillary Clinton for the true liar that she really is.
Right. And that's an easily pinnable lie against Hillary Clinton, as are many. I mean, this is just one small example of the many lies Hillary Clinton has told that's easily provable. Whereas Trump, they can't really get something that they can pin on him. They can't really get a lie that they can actually get on him, because there's a lot of different information, there's a lot of things that, you know, clearly they twist to make him a liar. But Hillary Clinton clearly has done it, and the media is not doing anything about it, and that's what we want to expose. But as we kind of wrap up here, I think we really need to talk about what the media should be talking about. And these points are just very, very small points that they could be talking about. There are hundreds of different topics that the media should be talking about, but yeah, and in no way are these ordered and most important to least important. They're just things that we thought of off the top of our head. And you know, one of them being Hillary's relationship with Vladimir Putin and how she helped him corner the United States uranium market, where Russia now controls at least 20% of American uranium. That was Hillary Clinton doing that. And that is something easily provable, something everybody knows about, or hopefully everybody knows about, but the media is not talking about it. And those are things that we should be talking about. If you really want to go after a candidate for, you know, their honest and trustworthiness, let's talk about that, how she's helping foreign leaders get control of our uranium market. You know, we should be talking about how they did create a vacuum in the Middle East, how Obama and Hillary did contribute to the growth of ISIS, why it's not an accident that ISIS is more prevalent now under Obama's rule than any other time. And I think that is extremely important as well.
And then one thing that I find relevant is everybody is freaking out about poll numbers.
Right.
Hillary Clinton is demolishing Trump here, there, everywhere, whatever it may be. And I actually checked right before we came on here. The NBC online poll has Trump at 58% and Hillary Clinton at 13%. And I'm actually checking right now as we're doing this. Donald Trump has 64,000 votes. Hillary Clinton has 14,500 votes. And I understand that online polls are a lot different than other polls where, you know, anyone and everyone who has access to NBC can be polled, but I mean, even if it's swayed a little heavily in Trump's favor, I mean, 58% to 13%, why are no news coverages talking about this?
Right. Absolutely. You know, and I think I bring up this point every time we're on Periscope, but I bet everybody can name more scandals of Hillary Clinton than any success. I want everybody to understand Hillary Clinton has been in the political sphere for 40 years, and we have trouble naming one of her successes. I think that is an extremely important point to bring up. I think that if you've been in the political sphere for at least 40 years, you should know what the hell you're doing, and we should all know what you've done. And with Hillary Clinton, it's not happening. And I urge everybody to wake up to that fact, that we can name more scandals than we can successes. And I think we should also be talking about what to do with refugees, what to do with the Syrian refugees. And, you know, Democrats are going to sit there and pin it on Republicans that we're heartless because we don't want the Syrian refugees here, even though ISIS is known to infiltrate Syria. But the Democrats are pinning it on Republicans, and Republicans are saying you can't bring, you know, X amount of refugees into this country when we don't know who they are. And I'm just saying that is a drop in the bucket, even if you side with helping out refugees. Even if you side with the Democrats on that. Well, we all want to help the refugees, just to be clear. But even if you side with the Democrats on wanting to bring them over here, that's still not helping the majority of the refugees out there. That's a very small percentage of the population of refugees. That's insignificant, you know, to bring in, 100,000 people. I'm not even sure what the number is anymore. And yes, that is a significant number to us because we don't know who these people are. But look at all the other refugees out there that really need help. So instead of talking about, you know, oh, let's take them all in and let's treat them to the best, you know, welfare programs they'll ever know or whatever, why can't Saudi Arabia, why can't these other countries out there take these people in, where assimilation will be easier because they all agree, you know, with Sharia law and understand, you know, that kind of ideology where it's hard to assimilate with Western civilization under Sharia law. And that's what should be happening. And the United States should be helping in a way, you know, whether it be building Section 8 housing or, you know, doing whatever we can to help them. That's fine. But I don't think helping a small percentage of Syrian refugees is the answer. And lastly, I think the media should be talking about corporations leaving this country, our $21 trillion debt. The most important thing I think we should all be focused on, the media doesn't make a peep, doesn't make one noise about what our financials look like, what our situation is. More people on welfare than ever in history, more people on food stamps than ever in history. The labor participation rate, huge loss, right?
We had an individual on Periscope a few nights ago that was saying, and they kept repeating themselves over and over and over again, that welfare and food stamp participation is on the decline. And we said, show us your proof, give us a fact,
right.
Give us a site, and they gave us a fact. And the headline read, even though food stamp participation is on the decline, still
1 in 5 or 1 in 7.
Was it 1 in 7?
I believe. People are still fed by food stamps.
Yeah.
I believe obviously the number's higher, but look at what's happening around us. You know, if the economy was so strong, food stamp participation wouldn't be so high. If the economy was so strong, welfare participation wouldn't be so high. It's common sense. So I guess that's our rant. And we're gonna do this every
We're going to try
morning.
to do YouTube every morning, clarifying 1 or 2, 3, 4, how many ever points that were brought up on Periscope from the night before. So follow us here, subscribe to us here. We're going to be on, 9, 10-ish in the morning every morning. And then we're on again 9, 10 at night Mountain Standard Time. So follow us on here, YouTube, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Periscope. Our handle is apoliticvoice, APOLITICVOICE, a politic voice. It's all one word. And you can definitely tweet us your questions. You can comment, message us on here. You can message us on Periscope. And we are definitely open to good, healthy debates. I know in Periscope we get a lot of people that are, you're a bigot, you're a racist,
Right.
you're a xenophobe.
Typical.
And they have absolutely nothing to back themselves up with.
Right.
So we look forward to having a lot more followers, a lot more good, honest, open-hearted conversations.
And I think we will see you guys tonight on Periscope.
All right.
Love
Thank
it.
you.
Bye.